Welcome to another edition of Nerds on the Block. Today we're going to be discussing The Mandalorian Season 2. We're going to walk through the entire season, see how we felt about certain big moments, and talk about the big finale. And I'm going to open up with Dexter. What were some of the highlights that you want to touch on for Season 2?
Yeah, so I enjoyed season two quite a bit. The only thing for me was I did actually find season one to be a bit better. It felt more fast paced. There was more action involved. I enjoyed the characters that were introduced more in the first season, and it kind of felt like it wasn't so side questy. So when I'm watching the second season, I kind of seem like I'm playing a video game where we're doing all these little side quests that don't really link up or matter to the main story. Like in this case, Moff Gideon, like it when you have the first season going on, it's all about like who is Baby Yoda, where are we trying to get Baby Yoda to, who was Mando originally, who is he becoming now. Every episode didn't really seem like a little side story. It seemed like it was all part of the main story that it was going to eventually become. So that was one of my bigger things I enjoyed about season one, as well as it did seem like there was more action. You know, every time we saw, I forget what his name was, but the main attack robot droid in the first season, you know, that was really exciting seeing him come in and out every now and then in the episodes. He always had really cool parts that just made the cinematography really exciting to watch. Um, with that being said, though, the second season still was really enjoyable, especially at the very end. I think that one episode alone pretty much killed, you know, all the movies that they've come out with, other than Revenge of the Sith. You know, well, we'll get to that part. Actually, I guess I'll save that for after. But yeah, those are some of my thoughts right now for season two. I'm gonna let Shamar come in because I want to hear him talk about Ahsoka because I know he's got a lot to say.
Yeah, I got a lot of love for her. No, like as a whole, it was like really well done, season one and two. Um, Generally, like the whole like, okay, we got to go on a side quest, and you got to help me do something so I can help you, was getting a little tedious for me, getting a little tired of like that whole format. I get like they want to stick to an actual story format and beginning, middle, and end kind of thing, but it would have been nice if they kind of blended his quest together. Like we've watched so many other shows that one moment they got to fight somebody to get somewhere, they got to find somewhere something to get somewhere, they got to talk to somebody. I just wish that they did a little more than just you got to help me do this and then I can help you do that kind of thing. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I just felt like it was a lot. It was very cookie cutter, a lot of the episodes. But other than that, I mean, as a whole, like the season one and two was very enjoyable for somebody who obviously doesn't really care much for the whole bounty hunter kind of thing when it comes to Star Wars. I'm more of a Jedi, Sith, the Force. Like that's my bread and butter when it comes to Star Wars. So for a show that it's not really for me, I was really invested in it. That being said, yeah, like I still feel like season two was stronger for me just because even though it started off a little slow, by the end, like it once it took off, and every episode I enjoyed from there. So and they made up for it in the end, basically, like with all the little things that they revealed. We got Ahsoka, we got Boba Fett, we got figuring out who Baby Yoda's name was, what he might have been up to, where he might be where he might be now, and what he's going to be doing in the future. We got so much jam packed into one season. I felt that season two did a lot more ultimately for me personally.
Yeah, honestly, both of your points are very valid. I think season one, exactly what you were trying to get on with Dexter, is that I do get what you meant. Like everything felt like it was going towards something, but like this one is like, I think what season two is trying to do is it's world building really, and it's trying to explore this universe and be like, hey, what about Rangers of the New Republic? We're trying to put that plug in, being like, hey, that's coming soon. Ahsoka, we introduced her, so look forward to that series because we kind of hinted at what her journey as at the moment anyway. So I agree with both your points, but for me, I definitely say season two, just because again, just to see anything with a lightsaber, like my heart just starts racing when I see that in Star Wars. Like I can watch space battles, I can watch all that stuff, but I don't get that level of excitement when you see Luke
once that lightsaber comes out. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's the episode
it.
right there. I don't
Yeah.
don't care how
Yeah.
sick of a fight scene he could possibly have. Once the lightsaber comes out, that steals the whole show. I'm sorry. Like I'm not a fan of
Yeah,
like,
well, I was
like
talking about, yeah, like for me, it's like as a season as a whole, but like if we were, even if you had to like trade off like one season to one episode, yeah, you pretty much could do that. You could trade off a whole season, or in this case, you could trade off every single sequel Star Wars that just came out, 7, 8, 9. Like I would trade all three of those movies for that episode.
oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
Hot
know,
take.
it's
Yeah.
Hands
it
down.
was crazy when I was watching it. Like there was literally like the 3 or 4 major points I called like out loud. When we were watching it with my roommates, I was like, man, I wish I recorded like the reaction.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, yeah.
and it wasn't
Oh, yeah.
predictable in a bad way either. Like even though I'm saying, oh, that's like I forget what the other two, but I knew that it was Luke. Like the first everyone here was like maybe it's Ahsoka, and I'm like it doesn't really like I don't see why she would just come back all of a sudden like that. But like the moment you kind of just like, and then plus they weren't really showing, and you see this black hand, and like there's just all these little things, and you're like,
And you
man,
see
it's got to be Luke.
X-wing and everything,
And
and
it's
you're
like
like,
why else would it be anybody else regardless, right? And then
There's the
you
green
just see
lightsaber
him
and the black glove, man.
force crushing monsters, or force crushing the droids, and he
yeah.
Dark
literally
troopers.
had the Anakin hallway scene where
Oh yeah.
Woo!
he
He
just
just
goes
goes in
in
there and
and
he just
fucks everybody
wrecks
up.
everyone. And the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
I was wondering too, I was like, how are they gonna get out of this? Because he barely
Beat one.
survived the one guy. Barely. I'm like, you guys are dead. And if you guys are I was expecting Baby Yoda to pull off some like crazy shit at that point. I'm like, okay, Baby Yoda's gonna save them. Maybe he's gonna come out of nowhere. He's gonna start force
Yeah, but even
all
he's
over the
not
place.
that strong, right?
But
Like,
apparently he's
No, I don't
kind
think
of
so either. Not with a
he's
whole
still kind of
platoon
useless right
of
now.
dark troopers.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I remember when he
So-
beats the one, and then he presses the button, and they all get shot out into space. I said out loud, I was like Joss was like, oh, like that's it, they're already gone, and I was like, well, I think they're gonna come back, but I'm like, if they don't come back, it's because they're OP. Like that's why you need to destroy them all in that one go, because like
Yeah.
you could barely beat one, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
when they did come back at the end, it's like, yeah, how are they going to win that?
Well, he would have died if he didn't have that Beskar armor. You see how he was
Yeah.
pounding into his head?
Yeah, that part was a
He would have
little
been done.
unrealistic. Like not the part where it's not breaking, but if your head's getting bashed into the ground, like
I know. Plus, he
you're
would have
probably
got
gonna get a concussion or
concussed for
something.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
like
he
so that part
probably
was
was concussed, right? But I mean, what are you gonna
yeah.
do at this point? You got to fight, like one way or another.
I feel his
Yeah.
adrenaline definitely, made him get through that situation. Without that, then obviously he's driven by saving Grogu in that moment. But like I see what you mean. It's a little unrealistic. Probably would at least be knocked out for a bit.
It's just funny though that how he didn't want to be trained by Ahsoka, but Luke comes in and he's like, "Oh well, I'll go with this guy if you let me," and it's kind of like, okay, I guess I'll buy. That was obviously that's what they had to do to get Luke to show up, obviously, as if he had left with
Yeah,
Ahsoka,
it was
then we
that
wouldn't
part's a
have
little
had
plot
anything.
holy because he
I
said, "Oh, you should go
yeah.
with Ahsoka," and Baby
But
Yoda's
Ahsoka
like,
is not really
"No."
a Jedi though, right? Like she's more neutral. And I think it's
But,
like
and they,
even
that's good.
Grogu.
I don't think that
Yeah.
has anything to do with it. I just think that he didn't want to leave because she says he doesn't want to leave. But then Luke
Yeah,
is
but why would he
there.
want to all of a sudden leave with
Leave
Luke,
with
right?
Luke, right? Just because
Yeah.
Luke is
He
it's
could
the same
finally be
concept.
realizing like I'm going to get captured by evil people if
And
But
I
I
it's
need to
also
don't
that
learn.
she
don't stay with a strong person, because like Mando's strong, but as we're seeing, he's not strong enough to
And remember, we don't know
Baby
what he
Yoda.
was saying. We don't know what he actually said to Luke when he was doing his little meditation thing. They could have
Yeah.
had like a lengthy conversation. So regardless, obviously, I guess for story wise, he must have had a conversation with Luke, and Luke was like, "Well, I'm gonna try my best to find you, but you're gonna have to make the decision to come with me." So that's why he had that moment where he's like, "Oh, he's asking if he can leave." Because maybe Grogu was always thinking, like, do I really want to leave this guy? I'm comfortable with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think it's just the Ahsoka thing that she's kind of like outright, like even when they're having that conversation when they're sitting down and we don't know what they're saying to each other. I think it's like she's seeing the realization within Grogu. It's like, no, there's too much attachment from him to and whatever. So I feel like Ahsoka knows that lesson very, very well. And like Luke,
Yeah, she doesn't want to replay it.
she doesn't want to replay Anakin again. So I understand her merits of the argument of like, I'm not
There's probably a
teaching
few
this
different
guy.
reasons as to why it
Yeah.
Yeah,
went in that
definitely,
direction,
definitely.
but
I'm very curious. What I'm curious to know is what happens to him, because obviously they just etched him into the universe. So where has
Mhm.
he been? What has he been doing? I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like
for who? For
either
Luke?
for Grogu, where has he been?
Grogu.
Oh,
Obviously he was trained by Luke. So what happened to
yeah.
Grogu?
Maybe he died against
I feel like, I don't know about you, I feel like Luke kills him because maybe he does find out that Grogu is, you know, going down a path that he doesn't want to see happen again, right? Maybe Grogu showed off some dark side tendencies, which he's not incapable of. And he obviously made it apparent. He's like, I was gonna kill my other Padawan. He almost killed Kylo, right?
Well, as I say,
Yeah.
I
wouldn't
don't
put that
think
past him. I
I
wouldn't
don't
put it
think he's
past him.
gonna be the one that kill Yoda or Grogu, but I think like I think Kylo might have something to do with it because remember in the movies, Kylo and them admit that they
They killed a
killed the
bunch
other
of people too.
Jedi's that
Yeah.
Luke was training. So if anything, that could what's gonna happen. But I don't see the Star Wars universe doing that. Like I don't think the fans would really take well to killing Grogu unless you could like
Yeah, but
properly
Grogu
show
wasn't
him
even a
like
thing until
descending
now,
into
right?
evil. I think what's gonna happen with him is like Yoda probably before Kylo gets there or something, like Yoda probably or Luke probably sends him off into space or whatever. I have a feeling we're gonna see him again. It's
No,
just
definitely.
it won't be it might not even be like he won't be like consistent or whatever. Like I do feel like the next season that's it. Like we probably won't see him.
And if he has been hiding, it's like, what has he been doing? Like, has he been just shooting the shit? Has he been just, training on the side, kind of keeping himself ready? Because a lot of stuff happened
Yeah.
in 7-8. A lot of stuff happened in 7-8-9 regardless, right? Like a lot
But
had
maybe
happened,
Luke brings
right?
him back to the planet Yoda was from, right? Like or the planet that Yoda was staying on. Something along those lines.
So
Yeah, I think where Grogu ends up is like because at the end of episode 8, I know all of us are not in favor of that film, but I do think the kids that they do show at the end of that film could be potentially what Grogu's like next mission, like when we next maybe potentially see him, like in that time frame, is that maybe Grogu sees that they're force sensitive and maybe he trains those kids, and like that could be the beginning of a new republic or another Jedi Council in the making. So like
Yeah.
that's my hope because like I can't see them killing Grogu. I can see Grogu, like Dexter said, potentially Luke having some foresight, being like, nah, like I can't trust Kylo or Ben Solo, sorry. And it's just like I need to do something with Grogu because he has a lot of potential. And maybe he thought the others, maybe they were further along in their training. Maybe he thought like, maybe we can take Ben. And then, Ben obviously did what he did. So I think
apparently, but then
apparently,
got
right?
destroyed by
Like how they
Rey.
do this story is atrocious. Exactly. Like again, like you said, Dexter, like 7, 8, 9, like throw that in the absolute trash. Like I never need to see those movies again.
where do you go after that? That's the thing. Like after all that's happened, and now they're shoehorning other elements within the timeline, and it's like, okay, so then where do they go from here after everything we've seen in those 3 movies? How do you segue after that, like in a way that makes sense?
Yeah, the way that it ends, you almost need to just keep
You
going
need to go
back in
backwards.
time,
You
or
have to go backwards because it's
yeah,
like,
or if you do go back in time, that allows us to create another path that perhaps the future sequels can follow.
Yeah, that's why I'm
But with
excited for
that,
this upcoming
I mean,
movie.
again, lots of praise
Sure.
of that final episode and those final moments. Like it was funny because me and you had that walk last week, and remember how we were saying it would be awesome to actually see Luke be able
in like
to
new
actually
form.
wield the Force like how he's apparently supposed to have been, like that he's supposed to be one of the best lightsaber wielders ever. Some argue that he's better than Anakin in his prime. So it's like I've always wanted to see that, and then we ended up seeing it, and it's even funnier because you've said that like you've been done with the Skywalker saga, right? But then that happens, and then you're like, oh shit, like here we go
Yeah.
again, but in a good way. Like you want to see
Yeah,
that. So it's funny
exactly.
because you're the first person I thought of when I saw Skywalker, because I was like, well, he didn't want to see it, but at the same time you did want to see it. And then we have
But at
another
the same
friend of
time,
Dylan's actually who said like when he watched the episode, apparently he didn't like that last part at all, and he was like, oh, like why are the Skywalkers being brought up again? But I'm like, in my opinion, like one, it was completely justified, and two, I
mhm.
don't think we're gonna keep seeing Luke over and over. I
No,
wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again at all.
because they've
And that's
established Luke to be
fine.
this
I
like
think his point was
mystical
like,
Jedi.
yeah, like he was
Yeah.
in that era. That timeline makes sense. He shows up. Like the thing is, how else was Grogu gonna leave? Like that, I really can't think of a better way. Like that was
Yeah,
the best way to get him out of Mando, because I was also saying this earlier in the season. I was like, well, we can't have Baby Yoda and Mando forever. Like as much as I liked them together, it like he's supposed to get to a destination, right? And
yeah.
now finally the right person came to be, and not only does he come, but they actually gave him like the fucking like hypest scene since like Revenge of the Sith, like
Yeah.
literally. So and then when he shows up too, like you can hardly tell that he's CGI. Like it's so
No,
fucked
you
up.
can't.
Like
You can't. It's
like
disturbing
unless
how
you
good he
stare at
is
him for a
now.
long time, when like there was a scene where he's kind of just staring dead on, and then you kind of can see it, but even then, like
Yeah.
hardly.
And then of
And
course there's
like
scenes
what
where they
else,
don't
what
show his
can't they
face.
do now?
Oh
You
my
know?
God. And there's scenes where you show they don't show his face because obviously like it's a lot. It's a lot to show his face for a few seconds, I'm sure. So you notice there's
Yeah.
a lot of scenes where you just see like from here down, or if
Yeah.
he's
Oh, it
picking
was
them up,
epic
you
though.
just see his
It's like,
hand. Like, oh yeah, they made you earn that. They made you earn it. So
Absolutely.
so all that praise is good. The only other negative thing I had about the season finale was how weak they made Moff Gideon
no,
look.
I've
Like,
seen that happen. I've seen it coming because it's
Yeah,
like
I was gonna say that's kind of fair, man.
he,
Like he doesn't know how to wield that dark saber. He was like
he
one of those people that like they find something, it's like, yo, look at me, I'm this, I'm that, and you can tell it got to his head. So when we
yeah.
see Moff Gideon like wielding the
yeah, I
dark
just don't like
saber,
that. I don't
No, I
like that
don't like it
they
either,
I
but
don't
I
like
don't
that
like it
they
either.
went that direction with him. Like I would have liked to see him
Yeah,
remain as a strong character, because they
yeah.
do that a lot with the Sith and the Empire. They always boost them, and
People
they're
that
like,
talk out their ass.
yeah, and then when it comes down to it, they always end up being pussies again, and it's like, why? Like,
Yeah, that's why I
um,
don't understand why Ahsoka's like, oh, I need to see Grand Admiral Thrawn. Why? Who cares about this guy? What is so like
so I would have
devastating
liked
about him
more
if you need
that
to find him?
they like kept him still a little strong, instead of him like
Yeah.
crawling on the ground and like being snarky and like,
Because you
I don't
notice
know.
as
It
soon as
was
he
weird
pulled out
because he
that
went from like a
lightsaber,
completely different character to that.
yeah.
So I didn't particularly like that. We'll see how the next season goes, I guess, because it sounds like it's going to be a lot about like who's getting the throne, and I'm guessing it's going to be a whole season of them leading up to Mando fighting that girl, because she's obviously going to want to take the saber.
Yeah.
Um,
in Djarin,
that
yeah.
was kind of weird and kind of out of nowhere too, in my opinion. Like it kind of like they were like those Mandalorians were in the first, like, what I think it was like the second or third episode of that season, so they kind of like hinted at the idea, but then all of a sudden to me it just felt like very end. It's like, oh, actually, like this saber belongs to the Mandalorians, like, and
Yeah.
now you just took the saber from her because, and it's like, okay, but if she said one condition. She said, I got one condition: bring him to me alive. But if you know that you have to be the one to fight him, then why the fuck didn't you, like, why did you let Mando go after him? Like
Exactly.
how did you not think that Mando's gonna obviously have to fight him to get to get Grogu? So it's like, why weren't you there to be the one to fighting? And now you're gonna make this big deal of shit because you weren't the one that won. Mando
Yeah.
doesn't even want it. And yeah, it was just kind of weird because like it's like, why did Moff give yeah, I can't even say his name.
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't he, like, why does he know all this, and he's just throwing it all out at the end, like the whole time it's like, I'm going after Grogu, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, never mind, I knew why she was coming, and like it's ironic because you beat me, and it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, it was
And
just
it
a
would have been
weird, that story part was weird. Didn't really enjoy it. Um, but I guess they're trying to set up a proper way for the next season. What I am gonna enjoy though is Mando having that saber. Like when he actually uses it and wields it, that's gonna be dope as fuck.
Look how long it
Um,
took for him to use the Beskar staff. Like it took way too long. Like he
I
used it like,
agree.
yeah, I guess I have it, and then he uses it against the Dark
Yeah,
Trooper.
but they
It's
make
like,
it pretty
man,
apparent that he doesn't like physical weapons, which is like very unfortunate because it's like
yeah,
Yeah, because we
why
want
even
to see
give it to
something
him?
different from him,
Yeah,
right?
like
Like
you
we
I
want
get
to
said,
it.
see
He's
we've
a
this
seen
guy.
the
marksman.
typical
You want to see
blasting.
this guy pull out his gun and then take the staff and start going crazy. Like use everything, right? Like he usually only uses his projectiles. So again, when you
Yeah.
see that lightsaber, Moff Gideon shit himself. You see how his face changes as soon as he saw the
Yeah.
Jedi pop up. You knew he was fucked. You
You
knew.
know how
You knew.
you know how quick your life can end with that thing? Like it's like they
Yeah.
know damn well. They know
He
damn
felt
well.
so nice with his dark troopers, and then he saw the lightsaber, and he's like, all of a sudden, like he knew, like because his troops are
I
useless,
still
and
think
he's
only very
useless.
few people could have taken on that many dark troopers,
Oh,
right?
they were
Like
dying
even
for
Ahsoka
sure.
and stuff. I don't know how well she would have done against that many.
No.
It would definitely need
But
to be a Skywalker. It would definitely need to be a Skywalker. Yeah,
and
no,
then
that's
what
really
did
interesting.
you?
I wanted to touch on. Oh, sorry. What do you want to say?
Another thing I was to say that my opinion, what's gonna? Do you know what's going on with Grogu's blood? What the
Yeah,
first thing I
that's
thought of
Grogu's.
is
Oh,
sad. Yeah,
they
yeah.
hint at it. They hint at it, but essentially it's for Snoke. It's like they're trying to have that cloning process,
that's
right?
exactly what it's going to be for. That's
Yeah,
100%. That's how they make Snokes, and yeah. Which
yeah,
again, it's like okay, so if Snoke is that powerful, then why did he die the way he did? But
Exactly.
yeah, that's a whole other.
And they don't even
well, yeah,
allude to
that's
it the right
another
way.
debate.
They don't even
Yeah,
allude to it like in the greatest way either. It's like we're getting it for someone. Okay, it would still be nice if you alluded to it just a little bit. Like
Yeah, they had that
even if
like dismembered figure in that like tube, which kind of like looked remarkably like Snoke.
it
And
would
it's
have been
like, yeah,
nice
they
if
had a
they
few
talked
failed
to the
attempts.
person because they
Yeah,
usually do that in Star Wars where like the head honcho you kind of get like a little glimpse of like okay this guy is obviously the big bad. You don't even
hmm
get that. So
hmm
it would have been nice to get that. So at least it kind of creates a thread towards
yeah.
okay.
I do enjoy they're trying to like show like possibly fixing like what was going on in those movies, like with little loopholes and little Easter eggs, right? Because it might not, they might not really bring that up ever again. But for most of us, we probably caught on to that watching that and going, okay, I think that's gonna be for Snoke
yeah, no, for sure. I
or
think that
bringing
was their goal.
Palpatine back or whatever, like. But
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Anyways, other than that, yeah. What were you gonna say, Tim?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that you said that like the next season. So like, there's a lot of rumors going around, guys. So I want to ask like what you guys actually think of this. But the book of Boba Fett slated for December 2021, and people know that Mandalorian season 3 is December 2021. Some people are suggesting that that actually is season 3. So we may not, get like Din Djarin all the time throughout next season. So what do you guys think? Do you think that is its own thing? Do we think we're going to continue on with Din without Grogu? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm fine with Boba Fett taking over season 3. I think Din Djarin's story is over. Like, I don't need to see. I personally don't feel like I need to see any more of him. I don't mind if Boba Fett maybe comes across him again in passing, and hopefully we see him again in future Star Wars projects. But I think he's done. Like his story is over. The little fight that they allude to with him and Bo-Katan completely unnecessary in my opinion. Because just take the sword. Like why do you why do you need to fight the guy and
Yeah,
make a big spectacle out of it? So I
yeah,
think ultimately Boba Fett, like we've been deprived of Boba Fett for so long. So why wouldn't he have his own season? Ultimately,
yeah.
Yeah.
And Dexter, what do
I
you think?
I don't think. Well, I can't say the story. I mean, the way it ended, I can't say it's completely over for Mando yet because, like he's got the lightsaber, right? Or what's it called again?
Darth Vader.
The dark saber.
Mhm.
So he's got the dark saber, and apparently she can't get it unless she beats him in combat. So there must be like it's not completely over for him yet, and he needs to sit on the throne and yada yada yada. Apparently, so I'm sure there's going to be some kind of way where it's either going to end with him actually sitting on the throne and he's going to be the next guy, or he's going to be more like a Jon Snow kind of thing where he doesn't want it and now he's got to try and figure a way to ultimately give her the power to have it. But it seems like they're going to have some kind of fight. I don't see, it can't really just end like that, because that's kind of like as a cliffhanger, because we don't actually
Yeah.
know what's going to go on.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't think there needs to be a lot focused necessarily on him. So I think that'll be part of the season, or maybe it'll be the next season, or
Yeah.
maybe it'll be this season the whole time, but it'll be through the point of view of Boba Fett. So that's where I
Yeah.
think Boba Fett is going to come more into play. That's he'll be the one that's kind of like showing you the perspective, and then it's kind of better that way too, because then you're not biasly watching through Mando's, or I don't know her name, but the other
Bo-Katan.
Mandalorian girl,
Yeah. It would
no.
be nice.
Bo-Katan. No, I think Bo-Katan
Bo-Katan.
is really interesting element. I just want to touch on one thing, guys. Just like within the Rebels show, she actually gets handed the saber, and I think in that moment, like I know both of you kind of look at it like, why is she not just accepting it? But it's because she wanted to earn it this time. Like when we're looking at it, like the entirety of the timeline, she wants to earn it this time, and she's looking at Djarin like, you literally ripped like this opportunity away from me. But it's just like, but it's not really, because he was just like, nah, man, like I'm here trying to save Grogu, and by any means necessary. And for her, she's looking at him like, nah, like now I have to fight you for it. So that's why in season 3, I think that's where they're going to lead into like some type of inner turmoil between the both of them, and Mando will actually like, proclaim the throne and like actually save the planet of Mandalore, and like, actually bring it back up. So I think that's what we're going to be focusing on. The Book of Boba Fett, though, like back to the question, I think they'll focus on both. I think there might be like an episode by episode type thing. So maybe one episode focuses on Boba's journey, and we get maybe more of a backstory on like how the hell did he survive episode 6? Like it's just this thing where people are like, yeah, that happened. Okay, he's here now. It's like, we need explanation though. Like not a lot of people are going to read the comics or all that stuff. So I'm interested to see when they explore that.
Yeah, I'm sure they will explain a bit more like what happened with him and how he got out of the pit. And
because they have to explain that. If they don't, that'd be that'd be a big no-no if they didn't. You can't just show up after, for us, it's been quite a long time, and just be, oh, well, I'm fine, and don't worry about how I did it, but I did it. I got a show now. And I got a show now.
It's like, okay.
It's like, okay, well, you better explain yourself. So I think, and I hope they're going to kind of bounce between what he's been up to and then what he's going to be doing, which, would be nice, because then you get a lot. There's a lot to watch. There's a lot to cover.
Yeah, and I'd really like to see the planet, the Mandalorian planet, seeing what's going on over there, like seeing this supposed throne and whatever is left of the remnants of the city. Because as far as I thought I knew about the planet, the last time was they basically all became like pacifists and like agreed to never really follow the Mandalorian way anymore, and like they're not going to cause issues and they're not going to be battling and yada yada yada. So like, to me, it just seems like there's a few Mandalorians still that want to go back to the old way, and then there's a bunch of them that are just spread out through the galaxy that are kind of just doing their own thing. So it would be nice to actually see them try and reform that civilization again, and then see where it goes from there. Because now, especially now that there really is there's still no true Jedi Order until we apparently see Rey or whoever else continues that in the sequels. So until we do see what's going on with the Jedis, it'd be cool to see the Mandalorian starting to rise back up again, which that could also lead to a potential series down the line, another, Mandalorian versus Jedi, or Mandalorian versus the Sith, or maybe the Mandalorians will be considered the, maybe they could be the rulers, maybe they could be the ones that everybody goes to for protection and so on.
Yeah.
So there's definitely more potential for them to go down instead of just the typical Jedi route.
Yeah,
Jedi versus Sith, because it's almost like especially how 7, 8, 9 ended. It's like they're kind of going away from it, and to kind of like go back to like a previous point that Shamar mentioned, like where we can see like potentially Grogu going. It's like if they definitely wanted to like continue off from like 9 at some point, but they would have to do it like 50 years like down the line. Like I don't want it to be like so close, or even 100 years. Like let's see Grogu look like Yoda, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, let's
Yeah.
get to that point. Like, you have to go so far in the future that Rey was like some type of like myth or something like that. You know, I want them to go to that level. If they want to return to like maybe go to the future, because I know they're talking about the past and like they have things in production for that. But just I think that's where I would like them to go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give them
I
enough time.
agree more or less with that. I don't really want to see I don't want to see Ray and them right away again. It's too
And I don't
soon.
believe I
It's
don't
too soon
believe
for the
like
heart.
yeah, I
Mhm.
don't believe that evil would rise up again that quickly either. Like give these people
Yeah, no.
No, especially when it was
a
on the level
century
of
or two.
Palpatine, like
Yeah.
you can't really
Give them a
compete to that.
century or two of peace before like somebody jumps in and is like, I want to take over the world
So
again.
that's why I'm like, yeah, which better way than to have like the Mandalorians or somebody else become the villain for a bit, you know?
But again, I'm still down to see somebody go bad. I want somebody to
I
go
was just
bad.
thinking that, or make Ahsoka or somebody like
Somebody needs to go bad.
make
I feel
somebody
like somebody needs
turn,
to. Like I said, I'm
and then
still team Grogu go evil. So creating
yeah.
that hashtag.
No.
I don't see
Hashtag,
it. It'd be
hashtag evil
interesting, but I don't
Grogu.
see it happening.
Hashtag evil Grogu. Everybody, follow me.
Oh
Follow
my
my.
gosh, can you imagine?
Make it a trend.
Like a Yoda but dark side. Like
I
no.
want that so badly. I'll play devil's
Oh,
advocate. I said it. I ain't taking it back.
wow.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Like if John
You guys think-
Favreau and like Dave Filoni, like if they are that brave to go down that
I
route,
want it to be true
really
so
appreciate it.
badly because I just want people to suffer the fact that they love this baby Yoda so much just to see their
Yo, man, that's my
precious baby go bad. I want their precious baby to go bad. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
So malicious.
This guy wants to see the world burn. Nah,
Yeah.
man, I just like the way we look at Grogu, but like, you know, like it's the same thing, like that the attachment, like I want to see like how does Grogu just like link to Luke and it's like, okay, everything's cool again. Like, sure, you have that somewhat of a connection, but like it's like, what if something does happen to Djarin? Just kind of like how Anakin's like story is still a tragedy, man. Like, I'm gonna go away, mom, to train to be a Jedi Knight. 10 years later, she dies, and it's like, why are the people that I love dying around me? You know what I mean? And it's just like, what if Din Djarin dies and Grogu senses that in the Force, and then you start to see like, why am I doing all this training for like the people I quote unquote love, or the people that saved my life? What am I doing this for? And maybe it could
Yeah.
work out that way.
It could, but I don't know. It's just such a weird, like, it's not even because like I love him and don't want him to turn bad, but it's just a weird thing. Like when he fights, like it's really epic. It's really fast paced. He spins all around, goes all crazy,
Yeah.
and it's like I can't picture anyone like beating him, especially a young version. Like who would have beat a young Yoda? And I'm also wondering, like, do they all talk like Yoda when they do start talking? And if that's the case,
We don't know.
We don't
and if
know.
that's the case, like, how is he going to go about talking in a Sith way though, right? Like it probably would turn out pretty cool because the way that Yoda talks, but then you would implement that with the way the Sith talk and the way they go about things. We'll see. I guess I don't know. I'm for surprises.
Remember, in Clone Wars, Yoda had to face his dark side because it was something he kind of pushed away for so long because he denied that it existed inside of him. And I feel like Grogu's not going to deny that. Like,
yeah.
Because he knows what love is. He knows what friendship is.
Yeah, he does.
So again, he has all the elements to be bad. It's just a matter of being pushed to the edge. And now that we've gotten the setup, we need to see what have they been up to. He's clearly hanging out with him now. So what have they been doing?
Yeah.
And why is he by himself?
Exactly. So out of all the new projects, where do you guys think Grogu may make appearance again? Like, do you think it's in a season 4 of Mandalorian? Do you think like it could be
he's going to be
in Republic?
He's probably going to be in Ahsoka for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Ahsoka. It depends where. I feel like Ahsoka is going to take place between.
I think it's before and future, or maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
I think it'll be a bit of both. It'll be a bit of both leading up to her meeting Darth Vader, and then perhaps a little bit after.
And then the Rangers, I mean, he's connected to those people, so I wouldn't put it past him for him to make an appearance in that too,
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
Rangers.
Yeah, I can see it happening in Rangers just because like that show is going to like touch on like other planets that essentially that people don't really know in the Star Wars universe. I think that's what makes that series so interesting. It's
Interesting.
like, okay, we're gonna see things that we've never seen before. Like I feel like Ahsoka is gonna be on that journey with like looking for General Admiral Thrawn and things like of that nature, and like maybe go like obviously past that, and like what Dexter said with against Darth Vader. But just I feel like that show probably has the most potential. Maybe like the Obi-Wan, I don't think so. I don't think we'll
No,
see Grogu and Obi-Wan.
that's its own thing.
Yeah, I just think that the probably the most likely is Rangers actually.
But I think since Grogu,
Actually, you say it's its own thing, but if it was ever more likely, it could. Or no, it wouldn't make sense.
no,
Yeah,
no,
it
it
wouldn't make
wouldn't.
sense because if that's after the fact, right? Obi-Wan's
Yeah,
dead, so
it would make sense for him to reconnect with people he's connected in Mando.
Yeah. Because like remember there's that one point in time where he's like he blacked out and he doesn't really remember what went down or something. Like
That's
who knows?
another
Like
thing.
he's been
Who
going
the hell
around the
did
galaxy
we
until we
still don't
found him.
know.
Yeah. Until we
Who
found him in
rescued him?
season 1. And then we're like in the first episode, he's just in that capsule. And you're just like, okay, that's a baby Yoda. And that's why he got coined that term. But it's just like, but what happened before that time? Remember
right.
in episode 5, he said that he was being trained in the Jedi Council. So it's like, okay, and then somebody took him and we don't know what happened between that time frame. So it's like, who knows?
Yeah, we can confirm it's not Ahsoka. We confirm it's not,
No.
probably not Anakin either, but
No, I don't think so either. I think it's that
I
librarian.
think they got
Forgetting
shot
her
off
name.
in a pod, man. I think it was like the Bad
Oh.
Batch, like
Hmm.
like some stormtroopers that weren't listening, and I
Hmm.
feel like they shot off a bunch of Jedi that weren't that didn't get killed in the temple.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Like Dragon Ball Z style, where they just start shooting a bunch of pods out, and that's how Grogu got out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think it's the librarian. I forget her name right now, but like if you watch like the prequels trilogy, like that woman that you see and like when Obi-Wan goes and gets like information and stuff, I think it was her, but I just forget her name.
Yeah, well, even the people that make the clones, they weren't for the Empire. They they had a little. There's a part in the series where they have a revolution too, trying to get they don't want their clone army being used for that. So there's a bunch of people that actually that were on the Jedi side that may have helped with Grogu's escape and possibly other Jedi.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy to think all of these moving parts in the Star Wars universe, and we're going to finally get them to fill in these gaps with all these new shows that are coming out. Just want to open up to you guys one more time, but like, do you guys have any other thoughts about the Mandalorian season 3 and where they can go with all these characters?
No, not necessarily. I think it's all basically been said. I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens to these characters now that they've been added into the timeline, and how they're gonna basically attach them to what's already been established in other projects. So I'm really curious to see what they do now.
And Dex?
Yeah, I'm just excited to see where everything is going to go, and I think because I got Ahsoka, we got the Obi-Wan series, we got the Bad Batch. We have a few different series that are all more or less taking place in the same era, give or take, 20 years or so. I think they have so much opportunity now to fill in all these loopholes and all these little Easter egg questions. And I think I'm optimistic. I think they're going to do a pretty good job. And when it comes to season 2 again, I definitely thought it was a good season, and I enjoyed watching it. And we're all definitely going to remember that last episode. Hopefully for not too long. It would be awesome to see something else come out and already dethrone that, because that was awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to safely assume we won't be getting an episode 10 for a while. I feel like it's going to be a long time coming before, but I could be wrong. But I don't feel like that's coming for a while, or maybe even at all.
Yeah, and I think I'm okay with that. I think especially with COVID and everything, I think they would rather wait anyways, so they can get that proper blockbuster. Because if you've noticed, Disney hasn't really been talking about releasing really anything because ever since that's been in terms of movies anyways. So we're still what was it? It was another Han Solo movie, right? That's gonna have was it not Han Solo? A second? Were they making another one?
No, it's Lando. You're thinking.
Is it Lando? Okay, because I
Yeah,
remember
it's
that they
Lando.
showed Darth Maul in the movie, so I thought they were like hinting at. I guess he's just gonna be in another version. But either way, yeah,
Mhm.
they have all those movies coming out, and but they're not slated for any time soon. So I think they're gonna work with
Yeah.
the series as they have, which is perfectly okay with me as long as they're gonna keep it up like Mandalorian's been. Then it's
Hmm.
better than the movies. So
But still deprived of my lightsaber, so guess I'm only gonna get
yeah,
that in. I'm only gonna get that in Acolyte in Ahsoka. So you know,
yeah,
that's my bread and butter
the
right
other
there.
eras don't call for it, right? So.
Nope, not really. So
But
you know,
I'm sure they
not
will. I'm sure they're gonna do Knights of the Republic or something eventually.
they
Yeah, they have
better.
to. They have
I'm
to. The
I'm
Acolyte is
starving. I'm
the whole.
starving.
I'm starving.
You didn't see that thing I posted on Instagram the other day.
Exactly.
More,
Exactly.
more.
Can never have too much lightsaber battles. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was our impressions of the Mandalorian season 2, and we are hoping that season 3 knocks it out of the park. And whatever Disney ends up doing with Star Wars, we're happy to see it. Yeah, that was our impressions. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the final season and that last episode. And thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo, you still here, dog? Yo, subscribe to the channel, bro. Make sure you hit that notification bell to stay locked on all of our content when it drops.
What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, bro.
Got mock teas out here.
Seriously, like it's so easy, bro. Just click the button, bro.